Hi everyone, welcome to the LisaBug Fitness and Yoga Short and Sweet series. I have for you today yoga warrior poses. So we will cover proper setup and alignment and modifications for Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 2, Warrior 3, and Reverse Warrior today. So just a real quick video for you to really fine-tune the proper alignment for your warrior poses and feel strong like a warrior. So I have my yoga mat. Let's go ahead and come onto your mat in a nice standing position. So our Warrior 1, we call this a closed hip pose. So in Warrior 1, we have our feet hips distance apart, just like we're standing on railroad tracks. We have a nice long spine, shoulders, torso, hips are all squared to the angle of your feet. So let's step your right foot forward and your left foot back behind you with a very slight turnout of your foot. Now notice your feet are still hips distance apart, so make sure you're not stepping back like you're on a balance beam. You're going to feel really tippy here. So really drive that hip forward, that back leg hip, grounding the front hip, and track that knee directly over the heel. So this is a nice Warrior 1 stance. It's firm. The stance doesn't need to be a long distance apart between the front and back leg. So once we have grounded and set this pose up, from the ground moving up, we think about lengthening the spine, and we can bring the palms to the heart, shoulder blades down. We can have hands at the hips so we can really think about opening our posture here. We can also bring those hands to goalpost or cactus arms. Elbows are slightly below the shoulders. We can reach the arms extending up. And then we can also just gently send the gaze upward, taking a baby back bend or interlacing the hands, reaching above the head. So once you find that Warrior 1, notice the muscles you're activating here. Keep everything engaged and allow the breath to move. All right, let's switch feet for our Warrior 1. So we'll step that back foot forward and step the front foot back with a slight turnout of that back ankle. Square your hips off first into that closed hip position. I feel a little stretch in my calf and the back leg. The more my foot is parallel, the more I'll feel that stretch. We're stacking that front knee right over the heel or the ankle. And then we can bring palms at the heart. Hands to the hips, broadening through the fronts of the shoulders. Goalpost or cactus arms, pulling the elbows back. Reaching through the fingertips, extending the spine or interlacing the hand. And we breathe. Strong and anchored through the lower body and through our feet, our Pada Bandha. Let's take one more breath here on this side. Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. Release those arms down. Moving into Warrior 2, we'll separate our feet really, really wide apart. So as you feel more comfortable with this stance, you might be able to increase it over time. But what we want to see is when we reach through our fingertips, there's about a straight line between our wrists and our feet. So we want to open that nice and wide. Now for now, just bring the palms to the heart or hands to the hips, and we'll turn out the right foot. So we have our back foot. I want you to bring that foot parallel to the back edge of your mat, and the front foot points toward the front edge of your mat. Now we want our torso still to be forward, but only to the amount that our knee stays tracking over the front ankle. So if your torso is on a slight diagonal, and that's okay for you, we want to make the most important thing being this positioning of the ankle, knee, and hip. Strong back leg, strong through the core, strong through the inner thighs. And then we can reach the arms out nice and long. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Maybe rotate your palms up to lift the heart and send your gaze over that front hand. And breathe in and out. Now, of course, there's so many variations here in our Warrior Two, but this is our base pose. And let's prepare to switch sides. So we'll bring our gaze back to the front, lower the arms, maybe they come to the hips, and we'll pivot in the front foot. So now it's parallel sideways to the front edge of the mat, and we'll pivot the other foot to point the toes forward. Now the flexibility of our hips can be very different between one side and the other. So notice that this knee is stacked over the foot. You want to press that into the pinky toe side of the foot. Strengthen the back leg, and then try to open your hips here as much as you can. This is an open hip pose. Then reach out long through the fingertips. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Maybe turn your palms up and gaze over that front hand. Pull the abdominals in. Gently tighten through your gluteals. Legs are really strong. Arches are slightly lifted away from the mat on the feet. One more breath. And then we'll exit that pose, bringing the head back to center, relaxing the arms down. Great. Okay, we'll work on Warrior 3. Virabhadrasana 3 is a balanced pose. So it's best found by starting in Warrior 1. So face the long way on your mat. We'll step our right foot forward, the left foot back into what I call a short stance Warrior 1. So I don't have a great distance between my feet, front and back. Press the palms at the heart. This is back into our closed hip pose. Then start to shift your body weight forward onto that front foot until your back heel lifts off the mat. And then maybe all that's touching is your big toe. This is a great place to start for our Warrior 3. I still have a bend in my front knee. My hips are still squared, shoulders as well. My gaze or my drishti is coming down toward the floor. Then we begin to tip forward any amount. And a wall or a small chair is great as we're learning how to balance here in our Warrior 3. Our hands can remain at our heart. We can reach them above the head, extending through the fingertips. They can come out like airplane arms. Anything you'd like here. So holding as long as you feel comfortable, then stepping that foot back into your Warrior 1. And reconnecting, making sure you're breathing. And then we'll switch feet. So back foot steps forward, front foot steps back with a slight turn out of that back foot. Square your hips into our Warrior 1. Now make sure you have that nice connection into your legs. You have a good base of muscular connection. And then start to slightly tip the body weight forward until the back heel lifts. Maybe you're just touching that big toe behind you. And then we can lift that foot off the floor any amount. Once you feel nice and steady with your balance, if you'd like to change the arm position, great. Or start to tip forward a little bit more. Now the free leg hip always wants to lift up and rise, so keep pressing that hip down toward the floor. And then when you're ready, step back into that Warrior 1 to reconnect and square the hips. Very nicely done. Step back out into your really wide position that we came into for Warrior 2. Our last pose in this sequence is Reverse Warrior, sometimes known as Sun Warrior. So we'll pivot the right foot to turn toward the front of the mat. Pivot the left foot so that it is nice and parallel to the back edge of your mat. And we've had our setup already for Warrior 2. So find your beautiful Virabhadrasana 2. And then we'll turn just the front hand palm up. We'll start to come into a reverse side bend. So I'm lifting that hand up, taking my gaze up to the ceiling, And then this bottom arm, we can let it slide down the thigh to support. We can wrap it behind our back for a nice shoulder stretch. And then we can side bend as much as we feel comfortable, bringing this arm a little bit further over the head and closer to the ear. And breathe. Our gaze is up. Or you can also turn your gaze to look back behind you at that back foot. Let's take one more breath here. Reverse warrior. And then come back into our warrior two arms. And relax the arms down. Good. Adjust your feet to the other side, pivoting the right foot to parallel, the left foot out to 90 degrees. Stack that knee directly over the ankle. Pull the core in and lift up through the crown of the head. Find your warrior two. And then just the palm of the front hand turns up. We inhale and come into our reverse warrior here. And again, taking our options, this hand can slide down the thigh, can wrap behind the back. We can come into our full expression of this pose. It's such a beautiful and regal pose. One more breath. And exhale back to your warrior two arms. And release down. Good. Let's step our feet together into mountain pose, either tight together or hips distance apart. Arms by the side. Take a nice breath in. Press the palms of the hands together. Exhale, thumbs to the heart. Nicely done, everyone. It's been my honor to present for you this LisaBug Fitness and Yoga Short and Sweet Warrior Practice. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Take care.